1FM 91.3.
1FM 91.3, it's Glenn and the Flying Dutchman, and we have with us once again our career strategist, Adrian Chu from careeragility.org. Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, everybody. How's everyone today?
Morning. Really good. Good morning, Adrian. Now, Adrian, having worked as a coach and a career mentor for over 2 decades, what are the 3 best pieces of career advice you've ever received?
Well, I think one of the things I would tell myself actually when I was, if I could go back in time and talk to a younger Adrian, would be get a mentor when you're young. Okay, in fact, get as many mentors as you can when you're young. And in fact, when you're older, I would recommend that you be a mentor yourself because for myself, I was very lucky that I've always been guided by a string of mentors very early in my career. So they're a great source of learning, and it shortens your learning curve tremendously. But a lot of times people ask me, how do you get a mentor? You know, do you like walk up to them and say, hi, can you be my mentor? It's a bit weird, right? So what we always recommend is that you observe the people around you. You look for people who want to be, whom you want to be like, you know, or with a skill you want to acquire. You don't have to ask them officially, can you be my mentor? You can just ask them, hey, how do you do this? Can you show me how this is done? Or even if they don't want to show you, you just observe them. And they don't need to be an official mentor, as I said. No, just being around, observing them helps out. One of my old mentors actually taught me this trick, and he calls it learning by osmosis. So just sit there and you absorb whatever they're doing. But one thing that's interesting as well is that, you know, as we get more experience in life, don't keep all the wisdom to yourself. Share those with those who are willing to learn. They could be your staff, your intern, or even your kids. So, you know, share your knowledge, share your information, share your experiences. And for yourself, FD, do you have mentors early in your career?
You know, it's an interesting question because 3 names pop into my mind immediately for 2 different areas of my life. When it comes to radio, when I first started out, a guy called Eric Lim, he's the man who hired me. This was in the days of rediffusion. And Eric was a person who really gave me so much guidance in the early days of my life. The other person is someone we all know, Brian Richmond.
Oh, yeah.
Brian was the consummate professional and still is, as far as I'm concerned. And then when it came to my stage work, a man I worked with, a man I've always looked up to because he was such a character, Victor Koo, the late Victor Koo.
Yes, and Charlie.
And Charlie, yeah. So these are the 3 people. If any 3, these were my 3 mentors.
Wow. So Victor Koo was really big on the stage and on radio as well in the 80s.
Victor was amazing. Victor was amazing on stage. Absolutely amazing.
Wow. Glenn, how about yourself? Are you mentoring anyone now?
I'm not mentoring anyone right now. I always feel like I'm not exactly the best role model. But the thing is, when I was younger and I started out my radio career, I have to say I immediately started picking out my mentors. And I can tell you right now that I have 6 mentors.
Wow.
And somehow, you know, throughout my career, as I developed, right, I constantly felt like I had qualities of all 6 in me, both professionally as well as personally. So my first mentor was, the big boss of radio when I was at SBC. Can you believe it?
SBC, yes.
And her name was Madam Chua Fu Yong.
Yes, I remember Madam
Fu
Chua.
Yong was the person who came up with the whole, okay, every single station should play a different genre of music. Okay, and she was very, very strong in terms of management. So Madam Chua Fu Yong, if you're tuned in right now, you know, I know she loves all the DJs that were under her, and she never forgets us all. So, and that includes you as well, FD.
Yeah.
Because she was the one who championed FD to host Who Wants to Be a Millionaire here in Singapore.
That is true.
And in the end, he did. You know, so a very powerful lady, very influential. She was also the Chinese tutor for Mr. Lee Kuan Yew.
Oh, wow.
Back in the day. Okay, so Chua Fu Yong, Madam Chua Fu Yong, and then of course there was Florence Lien, and then Bernard Lim, Mark Richmond, and Philip Chew.
That's
all
5.
4 of them. All 6 of them, I beg your pardon.
That's 5 names, Glenn.
Really? Okay, Madam Chua Fu Yong,
Yes.
Florence Lian,
Florence Lian,
Bernard Lim,
Mark Richmond.
Aloysius Tan,
Now
Oh,
that's
Aloysius Tan. Now you've got 6.
Mark Richmond, and Philip Chu.
Yes.
Yeah, now
you
you've got 6. Wow.
Okay. I missed out on Aloysius. Aloysius was the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
He was the disciplinarian. And I have to say, I learned quite a lot from him as well. We didn't quite get along, swimmingly, but yeah, I learned a lot of good lessons from him.
Wow. And these guys, a lot of them are still in the market.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
Amazing. After so many years, it's just amazing. Wow. The other thing, piece of advice which I would like to give, and which I've received many times, is get out of your comfort zone. In fact, what we should do is that what we should realize is that if you stay in your comfort zone too long or forever, you will never grow. In fact, what I always recommend is to try something new, try something big, try something scary once in a while. Take on a bigger role, even if you have to make a career switch. Do it. Don't be afraid. Get out of your comfort zone, learn a new skill, or even when the time is right, quit and do something different. So,
Right.
But the thing is, don't do it too often, because you don't want to be too risky about your career. But
Right.
but if you feel that if you're getting stale, or you're getting bored with your role or in your career, make a move. And in fact, you're never too old to take risk. Interestingly, I was doing some research, and Colonel Sanders, the KFC founder, he started KFC when he was 62.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, that's amazing, right? So I think he wasn't a real colonel either. So I don't know. It's but he, apparently he did it when he was 62. So he got out of his comfort zone, and he really struck it big. So take risks where it's necessary, but don't do it too often. Andre, I'm curious, Andre, what's the biggest career risk you've ever taken?
Radio is probably my biggest career risk, because my mother was not too excited when I first decided to join radio, because at that time, when I first got my university degree, she felt that there's a lot more that you can do with your career. And when I said I'm joining radio, she was like, "What? You're joining radio?" He said, "What happened to the businessman you always wanted to be?" Because I was always interested in business, developing businesses, grow businesses. And I thought I was pretty good at what I did. So I took a big risk by joining radio. But talking about mentors, I'm so fortunate. I've worked with the biggest names in Singapore, being Glenn, FD, being great mentors. Even though Glenn doesn't think that he's a mentor, he is, and he currently still is for all of us. And FD, with his experience on stage, I tell you, this guy is second to none. He works so hard. So the discipline. And my other mentor is Rod Montero. Also, discipline, entertaining, probably the best guys in the industry. So I'm very fortunate. The risk that I took getting out of my comfort zone is well worth it.
Wow, that's good, right? Looking back, no regrets, huh?
No regrets. I'm very fortunate to be doing something that I enjoy.
Wow. How about Sean? How about yourself? Who are your mentors?
Everything Andre said. See, I learned how to keep things short.
Sean and I worked for the same team all the way.
Yeah, same.
Yes.
10 years.
So it's Glenn. That's why Glenn is the supreme leader, right?
Yes. I got a photo of him in my room.
I'm still waiting for him to do a
16.
tour of North Korea.
And speaking of doing like scary things, I just want to say this in closing. When FD and myself decided to join SPH Radio, that was a scary thing, because after over 20 years of being at MediaCorp and then jumping ship to SPH Radio, that was a very scary thing, which I don't think any of the radio presenters at MediaCorp would ever dream of doing, because I don't think they have the stomachs and the guts to do something like that.
That was
to give up your number one position and just move on somewhere else and take a whole new challenge was very, very scary indeed.
Yeah, that was a big risk. It was really scary. But I think at the end of the day, I tend to agree with Adrian. Every once in a while, you need to do that because somehow when you do that, you get this boost. You get this extra charge, which I think is really important in life.
And no regrets whatsoever. And we're not just saying it. No regrets whatsoever. This is a completely different culture, and we're enjoying ourselves working with the colleagues that we have currently.
That's beautiful, isn't it? Because otherwise, can you imagine if you were still there, there'd be like another 10, 15 years there. It's like nothing new. It's going to be the same old, same old. So that's why what we always believe is take educated risks, take calculated risk. Don't be crazy in terms of going all high risk on yourself, on your career. But if you have questions, ask your mentors. And if you're not sure whether or not it's a good risk or a bad risk, and that's where having mentors help as well, because they can help calibrate your decision-making process, or they can even have inside information to telling you that, hey, don't go into that line, or don't join that company because that company is known for this and that. So
Right.
that's why it circles back again to the original thing we were talking about mentors, and that's why it's critical to have mentors within your career all the time.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Adrian, once again for talking to us. Always a pleasure. And we look forward to talking to you again next Thursday.
Yeah, always a pleasure talking to you guys too. And stay safe, stay home, and stay happy.
Same to you, Adrian.
Okay, have a great one. Bye.
All right. We've been talking to Adrian Chu, our career strategist from careeragility.org. Of course, you can get in touch with Adrian anytime. All right. So please, if you need someone to talk to with regard to your career and perhaps a strategy you're working on, Adrian Chu is the man.